Hi everyone. How's everyone doing? How are your evenings? It's getting so dark now. Today is transformation time. I love transformation because it's about learning about people's personal development journeys, learning about their mindset shifts that help them move forward in their real estate and entrepreneur journey. So I find that so exciting because it's just easy way for us to all know that we are all, the same, and that we all just pick our different ways of getting into real estate. And so we will be having Steve on. So I'm excited to hear his personal development journey and mindset shift. And so before we get him on, because he's not on yet, I wanted to let you guys know that next week is my networking event. So if you are interested in, so this is geared more towards intermediate and advanced investors, because the purpose of this networking event is to talk about your projects, to if you're having some issues, you get to actually talk about them so that people can brainstorm and actually get an idea of how to solve your issues. So basically it's how you can contribute and what support you need. They're going to be one-on-one breakout rooms, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So go into my bio if you're interested, because it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get to meet people, and each person is going to get to talk about what projects they're on or what they're starting to learn, and then like that ask for help. So I think it's really exciting to hear that. So how's everyone doing? I don't know where Steve is. Let's see if he's gonna come on. Hopefully he does. What is? Oh, hold on. Oh, there he is. Oh, sorry. There you are. How did I not see you? Hey,
Hey, hey,
hey,
how's it
Steven, how are
going?
you? Long time no see.
I know, how we been?
Good, good. Busy, busy like always, like we all are, right?
Yeah, exactly. Nice.
So let's
Cool.
start with just a little bit, like just let people know where you are in your real estate journey.
Yeah, sure, sure. So my name is Steven. I studied real estate about 12 years ago. The first property that I ever got was a condo. So I got myself a condo apartment. And then I lived in one of the rooms. And then I house hacked. So basically had this place, three-bedroom condo, rented two of the bedrooms, and then I kept one of the bedroom for myself. And then I rented to one of my friend, and then the other place, the other room, I rented to someone off of Kijiji. So a lot of it was really interesting. Like a lot of different adventures happened as a result of that. And that was my first move in real estate. So that was about 12 years ago. So, lots of different things happened in like since, but now I'm focusing on multi-units, and this is kind of where I am right now, looking at the multi-unit space and really diving deep into that like in the last 2 years.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've been doing lots of things in the multi-unit area. So how do you think, let's even start with what even got you thinking about, for example, house hacking? Like, what made you think to buy that condo and let's say not just keep it for yourself or rent out the rooms? Like, what made you get
Mhm.
into it?
Well, it was two things really. Like part of it was when I was in school, um, I lived in a place like that where the owner had like bought a place and then he rented the rooms to a bunch of different students. I was one of them. And then we all had our own room. We shared the kitchen, we shared the backyard. And just getting to know him, he was telling me about how like he had like different places that he did the same thing. And I always thought to myself, oh wow, that's really cool, like how like he like it was the place that he used to live at, and then when he moved out, he just kept it and then rented it to students. So part of that was really attractive to me. And then the other thing was that I just didn't have a lot of money, you know. So I was just like, I want to get in the game, and I don't want to wait too long. So what's one thing that I can do to get my foot in the door without having to wait for too long? So that was like the way for me. I was like, you know what? I've seen a model. Like I've always been like a person to look at models and then try to replicate them or improve on them. So I said, you know what? A bunch of students need places to live. Sometimes they don't have the money to pay for like a whole like apartment by themselves. They need to be with other students. They want to network and communicate and play and have fun and do things, party, like you know, all sorts of things that we do when we're a little younger and we want to have like a lot of fun, but at the same time, study and get good grades. So I said, you know what, let me try that, and it was easy at the time. Like it was my first property, so I didn't have to put a lot of money down, only 5%. And I was a homeowner, so it was a cool way to get things started.
That's awesome. That's great. And that's nice that you're able to like that see that from someone else because that's generally how any of us start, right? It either happens to you as in like what you said, like one of the people there actually owned it. And so you're
Hmm.
just kind of like, I want to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't have like parents that were doing things like that, or people in my surrounding were not in real estate. I didn't have the network of people that did that. So I said, you know what, let me replicate a model that I can see, and then kind of go from there. So that was the first experience, and it was how I got in.
Mhm. And how was even, so like you're saying, because your family and your circle around you had never dealt with rental properties, did they say anything when you told them about what you were planning to do?
You know what? Like, some my dad actually had some real estate, but growing up, we didn't have a strong relationship. So that we built that later on. So he could have given me some advice, but unfortunately, like we weren't in each other's life at the time. But my mom was always like, do what you feel is right.
Mhm.
And I really took a lot of advice from one of my aunts, and she was like a property owner, and she was someone where I felt like she could give me some advice in terms of like what to do. So one advice that she gave me, and I think it's a great one, was if you do that, buy a place that you can pay by yourself, so that you're not dependent on the other people being with you to keep the place. You don't want to get into a situation where everyone gets out and then you can't pay anymore. So I got
Mhm.
I got myself a place that was really affordable, and like I could pay by myself. So like having them there was great. But then
Mhm.
like after 2 years of doing that, I got tired of having like people in my space. So I
We
like
started
that
right
advice.
up, right? And we're like, we want to just have our own spaces.
Yeah, yeah. So that advice served me well. Like I was able to say to everyone, you know what, it's been 2 years, it's been great, but time to move on, right? So I
Mhm.
got to have like this 3 bedroom apartment for myself for a few months, which was great until I moved to a different place.
Mhm. That's awesome. And so, what about when you uh, went to find a mentor? Like, what got you to think of having a mentor? Like, getting through that mindset shift of putting the money down to have a mentor. How was that whole experience for you?
That took me a long time, to be honest. Like I wish I could go back and change that. But that took me a while. Like I was really cheap, so I went with free things and like really affordable mentors and classes, and I try to take this class and this book and this free thing and then package them up and try to make something out of it. And
Mm-hmm.
it took me a while to really understand that I needed someone in my corner to be there and to help me as I got stuck on different levels. So
Mm-hmm.
at some point, like I had these two condos. I had my own property, my own primary residence. I had done the the house hack for a couple of years. I had bought another one. I had built like my own house with my wife, and then like we got to a point where like it became clear that we needed help. And what I mean by that is that after moving away from these condos and then saving up, buying our place, and then being in it for a few years, like it kind of became a bit of a burden to go back and forth to these condos. Like we couldn't pay for property management because like they didn't generate enough money for that to work. We weren't doing student housing anymore. We were renting to like one family, so the income was a little bit lower. And then at some point, I got to a point where like I had these two condos that were empty, so completely vacant. And then on top of it, we had like it had been a while since we had renovated them because the income wasn't that much. So we were trying to be cheap with the repairs and whatnot. But then after a few years, wear and tear, like you need to do something. So two places empty, reno to be done in the two of the places. And then like it was eating at me, like I had my mortgage and then these two mortgages and the reno. And I was like, I have no clue what I'm doing. Like it's like I need help, and that's when I was like, you know what? Like I'm trying to save on a mentor, but at the same time, it's slowing down my progress, and like I'm like it's not working. Like it's
Yeah.
not.
Like it's
That's
not
not the
slowing you
life.
down, but you're not going as fast as you'd want because you're just like stumbling and making so many mistakes or yeah, mistakes and whatever. Like maybe not losing money wise, but just mistakes as in like, I don't know, or analysis paralysis. Depends on which. For me, it was that. I was just like, I need to know everything about everything.
Yeah, like I know I wanted to transition from the condos because I didn't like the fact that like having one place vacant meant that there was 100% vacant. So I wanted to move to something else, and I knew that like I had done my research a little bit, and real like multi-unit was the thing that I really wanted to jump in. And I was like, you know what? There's no way I'm gonna jump into multi-units by myself, like if I'm not able to successfully like manage these single units. So I was like, you know
Mhm.
what? Like let me sell them, start kind of new, get the money out, not have the stress of having to manage like whatever comes with it, and then really start new. So that's the time where I was like, you know what? Like I'm ready. Like I'm ready for help. I'm ready to be vulnerable and open myself up and like share like what I want to do and like trust someone to lead me and to help me and then to be there for me as I grow because I'm used to like doing things by myself. So that's something that it was hard for me to get in a position where like I'm part of a community. I'm like someone's helping me. Like they're like I have to tell them that I don't know what I'm doing in some cases, and like so that took a little bit of time for me to get used to that. So but I knew I needed help. It was just a matter of like finding the right person, and then I tried different people, different type of networking or events and whatnot, and I ended up finding like a mentor that really helped me out. And like we're still in touch. We're friends. We're business partners, and things are going great.
That's awesome. And what about, so for example, like the money mindset shift? How is that for you? Like leveling up? Because even like when you're dealing with multi-units, some are, higher numbers or you're just like trying to get your head to like be like, can I
Yeah.
actually raise the money for this? How was the money mindset shifts for you?
Like all this was like, you know how you flip a house, like you flip houses, so you know about that. You pick a place, it doesn't look like exactly like you want it to look, and then you add value to it. Like I felt like I needed to do that to my brain, like to get in a position where I could even be in these conversations. Because remember, I'm the guy that doesn't like to ask for help. Like I don't want to, like I've never really like raised money before. I didn't need to, so I saved money, work really hard, have like different jobs or side hustle, save, buy a place, do the same thing, wait a year or two, do it again, like sacrifice, like so the concept of like talking to someone about investing money the concept of like making offers on properties that were like a lot more money than I was used to. Like my first place I bought it, it was like, you know, 120K. So that
Mhm.
was like, I was like, ah, yeah, 120K, let's do it.
Yeah, no big
But
deal. Easy peasy.
yeah, like if it doesn't work out, it's just 120K. I put 5% down. Like what can go wrong, right? But then like, just yesterday I made an offer on a property that was like 1.8 million. Like the same day I made an offer on another one that was 1.1. And then like we're making an offer like later tonight on something that's like 800,000. And like so the numbers are a lot bigger. And it took me a while to wrap my head around like how
Believing you
big
could
the num
actually do it.
yeah, exactly. Like believing that I could do it, believing that it would work out well for me, that it would work out well for my investors, because I obviously didn't want to lose anyone's money, my money, their money. Um, but that came with like the confidence came by learning. Like the more I learned, like the more I learned, the more I understood what I was doing. The better I got with due diligence and verifying that the information was accurate, that I was able to do rent audits, like just like understanding everything about it, all the pieces from start to finish. Like it really gave me the confidence. So like at first I was looking at smaller properties, like smaller deals, like a fourplex, like another fourplex, like a few partners with like smaller amounts, like a minimum amount like $10,000. Like a few people at $10,000 will be good. But
Mhm.
now like I look at bigger properties, bigger amounts, different level of investors, people that really understand more like how it works, and
Mhm.
um and like but it took time. Like it took learning, it took practicing, it took getting into multiple conversation with people, looking really stupid because they would ask something and you're like, like I've never heard about this before, or I didn't think about that. So then going back and then figuring out until you get to a point where you're doing it's working out well, people are getting their money back, like everything's going well, and then it gave me the confidence to do more and do bigger ones. And at the end of the day, like right now, the way I see it is that it's the same concept, it's the same number. It takes the same amount of time to make the offer, same amount of time to do the inspection, all the different steps. Like, and then the payout is bigger because the amount is bigger, the value is bigger. So at the end of the day, like you win bigger if you can do bigger deals. So why wait? Why do like a bunch of small little duplexes if you could do and you have the confidence and the knowledge and the people to be able to do bigger deals. Like nothing wrong with starting small, but at some point, like if you want to grow, you have to level up. So and
Or
I
it's
know
more
I'll
of
have to
a
level
growth
up some
mindset,
more.
I would say, right?
Sorry?
I said it's more like the growth mindset. Like you got it. A majority of us kind of have to start small to start. Like you said, like how you're doing, like kind of changing your mentality and trying to like put in these new thoughts into your head and taking out the old ones. So like going small for a lot of people helps because you're doing things that you think you can afford, and then you go bigger and then bigger, and it's not, I think, so mentally taxing on you when you go big, because when you go big you're just kind of like, it becomes like this huge wall that you have to climb up, and it's just kind of like, you may even just give up. Whereas like the little
Yeah,
ones, like
yeah.
you're like jumping over the fence. You're like, okay, I can do this. And
No,
then a
no,
little bit
like
higher, okay, I can climb it.
yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Like you do what you're comfortable with. Maybe you do a little bit more, like just to stretch a little bit, right? If you were gonna do a duplex, maybe you do a fourplex, and then like you get comfortable with that. You get the process. Everything works out from A to Z. Like you understand what you're doing. Maybe you do another one, same size, or the next one you do a little bit bigger, and then once you feel like you've done it a couple times, you know what you're doing, and then you have the infrastructure, right? Like the people, the support. Then you can do more and more and more. And at some point, like you'll look at where you are and you'll feel like, oh wow, I'm looking at multi-million-dollar properties. But it's not like you don't jump from, like personally, I wouldn't recommend jumping from like not nothing at all to like all the way to the top, right? Like you could hurt yourself. But like if you do it gradually like this over time, and then you keep climbing, climbing, and climbing, at some point you'll look up and you'll be like, oh wow, like I like a year ago I wasn't even thinking about these things, or I wasn't even having these type of conversations with people, or I wasn't even crunching numbers. Like now there's like almost no properties that we crunch numbers that's like a million or less, right? And it's like before it was like $1 million, whoa, and then now it's like only a
Scary
million dollars.
world.
Yeah, so things are different.
hmm And like that, like I think you just start realizing that I don't know, like you start looking at money differently, right? Like you're just like, oh, it's just another zero at the end, okay? You know,
Yeah.
like things kind of stop phasing you, I feel like, don't they?
No, for sure, for sure. Like it's just another
It's like a
zero.
graduation, you know. You graduate, you get another zero. Graduate, you get another zero, you know?
Yeah,
You like
yeah,
hit these ceilings. You're like, okay, now I can do this. You're like, okay, 100,000, okay. You know, like 500,000, okay, I could do that. A million, okay, you know, just keep on going, you know?
yeah. No, for sure. Like it's exactly that. Just keep on going, keep adding to what you know, and having support is great too. Like if I have like 10 people around me and then they're all strong and I know they're all investors, we can talk. I know I can come to you for like private lending. I know I could go to this person for help with this. Like this person lives in this area and they can connect me. Like it's a lot. You feel a lot better, a lot safer, a lot more confident to jump if you know that you have the right support system. So it's not only the numbers, but it's also like building the relationships with the people that will help you, because nothing in real estate gets done by itself. I always say it's a team sport, right? So you have to rely on your team, your partners, other people around you to like. I have a strong mortgage broker, like multiple strong mortgage brokers. I have a strong mentor. I have a strong network. I have a strong list of investors with money to go. Like I have but it's things that you build over time, and then like you like when you're building them, you don't know when you'll need them or when you'll be able to use them. But then when the deal shows up and then you have the people lined up and everything lines up perfectly, like it feels wonderful.
100%. Like the and I think even just one of the things is like taking those baby steps just helps so much to um make you successful, right? Because like you were saying, like you look back and you know, I think at least this happened to me. You let me know how it was for you, but I remember you're like chugging along, you're like getting things done, and you don't realize like actually how much you've done because you're kind of like, you know, like you'd be like, hey Steven, what are you up to? Oh my God, you already got another multi-unit. Oh my God, you got like this going on, that going on, and you kind of like it's good because it motivates and like you know it's nice to have the community because we can all motivate each other, help each other because maybe we you know you may not do business together always with every single person, but you're always like chatting, you know, having that relationship still as friends to help each other whatever it is, right? And
Hmm.
then but then it's funny because I remember one time I was like, oh man, you know, like all these people are doing all these things, and then specifically because I'm like you said a private lender, or yeah, I'm a private lender, like I do flips, but for example like that, like my flips is like one at a time, and like how I grow quicker is in my private lending side because I can just like you know be sending out money to all different projects. And I found it
Hmm.
funny, so I'm like, man, I don't have like all these houses like everyone else does. And then someone was like, don't you have like this many private lends going on and like these flips and these burrs? And I was like, oh yeah. And
No,
literally I forgot. Like did that happen to you where you like hadn't looked back because you're just like focusing on forward?
you know what? Like for me, and this is something that I'm working on right now, is that um, like I've learned not to compare myself with others, because if you look around, if you look here, you'll be like, oh, I'm doing amazing. This person only has this or is only doing that, and then you'll look around here, and then you'll be like, I'm doing awful. Like these people have like so many deals on the go, or they're closing left and right. Um, but for me, I've learned to like just go, like just look at myself, and then just try to improve over time. Like get better, get better, get better. Like, and then take my time. Like take my like, not take my time like sleep at the wheel, but take my time because Like
I feel
as
like
you're
it really
growing,
goes for your pace. So because
yeah,
obviously,
yeah. Like everyone has different situations, right? Like I have a family, like I have kids, I have my wife, like I have like some responsibilities that maybe someone else doesn't. Like my goals might be different than someone else's goal. Like I might be setting up like the foundation. Like let's say like I go in a new market. I'm not gonna buy a ton of things. Like I'm just gonna buy one, and then I'm gonna grow in that market slowly. And then down the road, I might be able to go faster because I have the relationships, I have the system, I have like everything's working out well. But at first, it might be super slow, and it's kind of on purpose because I'm working on like building the foundation so that I can grow later. So like,
Mhm.
but me, I used to look at myself, and sometimes I'd be like, I'm doing great, like, and then sometimes I'd be like, oh, I'm doing awful because these people are doing this, these people are doing that. But I stopped all that. You know, I try to get better time over time, and I do an exercise sometime where I just reflect on like what did I do, like where was I last year, same time last year? What was I doing? What like which kind of properties was I looking at? Who was around me? Was I happy? Was I healthy? Like were my relationships strong? Like where was I? And then like is it better now? If it's better now, like if it gets better over time, every month, every week, like it gets a little bit better. I have a few more opportunities that come in, like a few chances of like doing different things. For me it's great, like because I'm growing. Like um a few years ago, like I didn't even think that I would be able to get to where I am now. I was fighting with these tenants to like kick them out, like not kick them out, but like evict them so that I could get the property, I could put it in the market. I was like, now I don't even deal with tenants at all. So for me, this is growth. I was in a position where like I was trying to pay my bills and pay my debts and different things, and now I'm in a position where like someone's mom is investing in my property, someone's sister is investing in my property, like someone that I met at a networking event is investing in my properties. Like we're producing cash flow, we're giving cash flow back, we're raising, we're increasing values on properties. Like it's a huge shift. So I can't look at that and be mad at it because I don't have 1,000 properties right now. Like it's just like, hey, like it'll come like over time, gradually, like 20 doors, 50 doors, 100 doors at a time. Like eventually we'll get there. But if you kind of like look around and like you almost like miss celebrating on your achievements if you're looking around, because there's always someone doing something that looks a lot more amazing than what you're doing. Like
Mhm.
so I don't think that's a good way to go about it. And I'm working really hard to stop. And then sometimes I even like cut off like, social media for a little bit just so I can kind of like go back to work, like looking at me and myself and my team and what we're working on and what we're accomplishing.
Mhm. So you're then very independent still then with the community. Like for me, for example, like I actually like being in the community because it kind of like, gives me the motivation. So for you, you actually like you're pretty independent then
No,
from
no,
the
no.
community.
Like I'm in and out, like I'm in and out of the community in a sense that like Um, I want to be there when I have something to give, and then I want to be there when I have like I can bring value. I also
Mhm.
want to be there when there's something that I can learn and I can grow from. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes we just get lost in like just like talking and being friends and talk like just like consuming
Mhm.
information without any like a purpose behind it. And
Mhm.
not to say that like we can't be friends and have fun and whatnot, but at the end of the day, like I'm really result oriented. So I like being around other people that have the same mindset and we're growing and we're going places. But at the same time, I feel like there's a balance between networking and having fun and chatting up with people and like just enjoying yourself in
Mhm.
what you're doing and then getting results. And so for me, like I do a little bit. Like I go from like, okay, like I've been by myself at the computer for a while now. Like let me like,
Get
jump
back
in
into the
and
world of real
embrace.
estate.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go in a room. Let's see who's there, who's doing what, or let's go to an event. Like give people real life hugs and like high
Mm-hmm.
fives and talk and have fun and then back to work, you know, like let's get some deals, you know,
Yeah.
let's find some properties, let's find some opportunities, let's look at things, let's get stuff done. So yeah, but I'm before I was 100% independent, I was doing it like a lot of things by myself, but that's not the way. Like I've learned that you have to like work with people, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how we win. Like nobody that's doing something amazing is doing it by themselves. So like I have interns, I have like joint venture partners, I have VAs, I have my wife and like my family, like everyone's like, and then different communities as well, like
Mm-hmm.
that we're always connected. So that's really really helpful.
Yeah, and like that, because I don't know why we're brought up to think, for example, that we need to do things alone, or yeah, like as if like we can't work with others or something. Those was that, do you felt like it was taught to you that way, or you just, or what? Because like let's say with me it was, I always had the feeling like like, or parents would be like, these people are gonna scam you, so you have to do things alone, all these things. If these kind of things happen to you.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think it comes from our system, like the system that we're brought up with. Like, in my culture, we're scared sometimes of like other things that we don't know. Um, my parents weren't doing anything like this, so for them it was like it was unknown. So what's unknown sometimes can be scary,
Hmm.
and so I just kind of stayed to myself when it came to things like that. And sometimes I think it's like ego as well, right? Like you want to prove to yourself that I can do it. Like I can do it. I
Hmm.
can do it. Like
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll figure it out. So there was a little bit of that going on, but and then coming from the mentality of like more of a consumer, more of a consumer, less of a producer, right? Where you want to buy your house, you want to have your house, you want to have your property, you want to be the person that owns the whole thing, and it's it feels like wow, like I'm doing something good, I made it, right? As
Hmm.
opposed to when you grow and you evolve as a real estate investor, and I'm sure it's like that for you and some of the people watching, is that you want to win, but like you don't want to be by yourself at the top. They say it's lonely at the top, but it's only lonely if you're not bringing people up with you and you're not connecting with other people and then you guys are not working together. But if
Hmm.
we're like if we know each other every now and then we chat and then you have something going on, you let me know. I have something going on, I'll let you know, like, and then someone else is in the circle and then we're all growing together. Like there's no way that it's going to be lonely because we're all growing and we're all learning and we're all giving back and we're all producing and like things are like we're all winning. So even a property um like right now I do a lot of joint venture agreements and partnerships where there's like different people in a deal. So you don't own 100% of the property and not 100% of the profit, but then someone is doing some more active work, someone is putting some of the cash. Different people are doing different things, and then we're all winning. As opposed to nobody would do this deal at all if we weren't finding a way to do it together. So
Hmm.
no, it takes some time, it takes some learning, but I wouldn't do it any other way right now. Like I'm part of like a really strong community of people that are going hard, winning, producing, and then we're all strong because we all believe in working together and achieving and celebrating our success. So it changes a lot. It changes things really like a lot, like
Hmm.
to have that mindset and think like that for sure.
Yeah, 100% agree. Uh, with everything you say, yeah. Like what's the point of winning alone?
Yeah.
If you don't have any of that to share with like people around you.
Have you ever been to like a trip? Like imagine like let's say you go to a trip or something and then you're seeing these beautiful scenery and then you have nobody else to share it with. Like nobody else is
Mhm.
looking at it with you and you're like, oh man, I wish like no, I've been on a trip once and it was me and my cousin. And then I was like, oh, I wish I could share that with my brother, and I wish I could, but it
Mm-hmm.
was me and my cousin. It was
100%.
fun, but it was like, what if more of us were there and able to do it, and we're doing it together? So that's kind of the concept for me. It's like, let's find a way. Like, there's enough deals, there's enough money, there's enough relationship, there's enough everything for all of us to win and to share and to all win together. Like sometimes you feel like, oh well, if I share this deal, like I'll have less equity on this one. Like, but then you're missing out on the fact that someone else is going to come in and bring some questions that you didn't think about or some expertise that you don't have, and then instead of doing one deal, you'll be able to do a few more, or you'll be able to avoid some mistakes, or like you'll figure out something that you didn't know about because you have these like different partners, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and then you grow, you learn, and then like you never know. So you never know where things are gonna go. So I really love working together as a team. I played basketball when I was younger, and we won things as a team. Every time someone felt like he could do everything by itself, and it'd mess up everything for the rest of the team, and then we'd actually lose. So as a team, we're a lot stronger.
Yeah, 100% agree. And it's really funny actually that you say that with teams because I was the same. I played in a lot of team sports and and I feel like that was my conflict in me, right? Was like I actually really enjoyed the team aspect of things through sports. But then, you're like mentally told that, and like you and me, we have very entrepreneur mentalities, right? And then so we're like always trying to start a business and do something somewhere, something, right? And then but then, it's like you're being told that, you don't want to be scammed, you have to do it alone, like, all these things. And then like that, like once we found this community, it was just one of those things like, oh my God, like these people are talking my language,
Yeah, no, for sure. No, like I think it comes too from, when you go to school, like when you grow up, you go to school and you have to do your work. It's your grades are based on your individual results. Like what you studied, what you put on that paper, you get marked based on that. And then you might do like a team project here and there, but like everyone has to do like everyone's kind of like working together, but like by themselves at the same time.
Mhm.
So you kind of feel like, hey, like, is this cheating? Like if I know you and you give me the answer, like, is that cheating? Like, if I don't know about this, I reach out to you. Like, is that like it takes a little bit of use. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. No, this is not cheating. Like we're all in it together to win. So like let's embrace it. So now I like all the way it's like a team thing. Like I'm always looking for people that I could enter into strategic partnerships, and then we could do deals together. Like I'm strong at raising cash. Like if I don't have any deals going on, I'm like, hey, do you have any deals? Like maybe we could work on it together. I have some investors that have cash, like that they want to do something. Let's find a way to work together. Obviously, like you want to vet the people that you work with. You don't want to do that with everyone, but if I've been following you and then we've been talking for like multiple times, like for a year or two, whatever, like I feel like okay, like I've seen what you've done, I've seen things going a certain way. Like I'm definitely comfortable having that conversation and seeing what we could do. So yeah, that's kind of like where my mind is at right now when it comes to that.
And that's a great example that you gave. I've never thought of it that way. And that's probably some of the conditioning that happens in us is what you were talking about the test, right? It's like we're all, told to do the test. Let's say we do them all on our own. So if you're like looking or asking for an answer, is cheating. And then what does that do? That makes us become like that, independent, where we're just like, okay, I'm not going to give you the information because like you should be working as hard as I am to find the information.
Yeah,
And it's like not like that at all. It's like, it's like I'm gonna share information with you and then I'm sure maybe in the future it will. Or maybe you'll be like, hey, this person knows this, what you're looking for, like go talk to them. And it's very true, like you don't realize like what situations will actually do to you. And that I never thought of that. That's a really good example of the test, because that does make you very, and like, especially when you get into those high level, like like if you're like in the 90, 100% percentiles or like those amazing universities, like it's
Hmm.
very, very competitive and very, very like they will, like cheat, like it gets really, I don't know, in a negative sense competitive.
Yeah.
And
Even
it's really funny, you don't realize like what are you training these people to do, to be independent on their own and not work together, whereas like that's like you real world, it to be anywhere is like you got to work together and help each other out.
even in the workplace sometimes, like depending on the workplace, it's like if you want to get a promotion, you better not tell so and so that, like about that piece of information because they'll do a report that's going to be better than you. Like,
Hmm.
it's like it's in different places, right?
Oh yeah,
So
all over. You're right. Same thing. I
yeah.
remember my job. I found it funny because I was the type of person that like I created documentations so that my team would know what to do, and then like there's other teams where they would refuse because they're like, my job will get easily replaced. And my
Exactly.
mentality was like, if I do my job well enough or you don't need me, that's amazing. Especially, I mean, I was also a developer, so obviously, I enjoyed like the creativity and building systems and this and that. So to me, I was just like, if I built you the most amazing system in the world that like you don't need me anymore because it's awesome and like it does everything you need, I'm like, why am I gonna stay in that company and be bored because I have nothing to do, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. No, I get it.
Hmm. So it is, and I think that's like the entrepreneur mentality, right? Because we're always trying to, level up, learn new things, even like let's say if it's the multi-area, but there's always like new things to get into and just kind of like, or maybe you never know, right? You'll dive into something else just because like I get this and it's like time to do something new, you know?
I'll definitely dive into something else sooner or later. Like right now, I'm looking at land development as like, I'm just learning about it and setting myself up, building these.
Uh-oh, don't tell me because so am I. We may have to talk afterwards.
Yeah, let's do it. Like I have a really good network. I have some really strong people that are doing it and they're doing great. So I'm learning, slowly but surely, putting all my like most of my focus on multi units, but at the same time, I'm putting a 10%, 20%, like just like gradually learning and setting myself up so that I can do that successfully as well. So yeah, like, and I think like when you're growing and you're always putting more information and more resources inside of yourself and investing in yourself, you're never really scared that like someone's gonna replace you or there's not gonna be enough for you because you know that you're growing and like you don't have to fight against anyone else. You don't have to compete because it's just about competing with yourself, challenging yourself, and becoming better, setting goals, higher goals for yourself. And you know that like if you keep repeating the same process of like always adding to yourself and putting more information and networking and growing and doing and taking action and taking risks and getting results, at the end of the day, like nobody can replace you. Like there's only you, only one of me. Nobody can compete like effectively with like any one of us because how will you, right? Like it's impossible. So like there's no need to be scared of like, oh wow, this person is getting all the deals or this person is getting all the investors or because at the end of the day, like someone might trust you really like a lot and they might be interested in investing with you. Someone else might look at you and say, oh, well, you know what? I like what she's doing, but like I like what Steven's doing more. Or I like what both of them are doing and I have enough funds that I could do both deals. And then like, or I like what both of them are doing, but it would be great if they work together. And I know they know each other, so I'll talk to them and see if we could do a deal all together. So you
Mhm.
never know how things are gonna go. Like I have like investor friends that introduced me to great mortgage brokers, and then I've connected people with other good trades and like it's all connected. Like it's really all connected, and we're all in this together. Like whether we realize it or not.
100%. Yeah. It's and and it's just good to actually realize that because it's those are the mindset shifts that you go through. And like that, like for example, one of the things that is like a major thing in our communities is like removing that scarcity. Because you start realizing, for example, like that, like, oh my God, they're gonna take all the deals. But really when you look at yourself, for example, like how many deals can you yourself handle? And most
Exactly.
likely same thing. Like there's so many deals out there and that like there will always be something for you because not everyone like there's not one person that can take like everything, you know, and usually like that, like, you know, like a lot of us also we just also grow. Like for example, you know, some people start with wholesaling and then, you know, you think like, oh my God, all the wholesalers are taking all the deals, but then those people start leveling up and they're like, you know what, now I want to be able, I either have the funds or I want to now start going bigger. Maybe I'll actually keep a house, you know, and start doing
Hmm.
that. And then all of a sudden, like those wholesalers are going into a different level, right? And then so there are still, for example, lots of deals for other like new wholesalers or something. So it's just like also even that helps because it's just everyone's leveling up like that. Like now you're looking to development. It's funny because same thing. Like I've started looking into development too, right? Like there's like we all kind of start like growing and leveling up and you know like that. Like either because it's like something new and interesting, or just like you know it's like you just start or you really start finding your niche. You know, like a lot of people will start with one area and then all of a sudden or everything, one or like either you're just doing a little bit of everything or you're doing like one area and you just kind of dive into another one, right? And that's and then all of a sudden you realize like, oh, this like for example for you, right? Like, oh, like multi units is like the area that I want to be in, you know, because it made more
Yeah.
sense to you at that time, right? So it's just you will always have there will always be opportunities, especially when you're ready to look. When you're looking, you find them, like they come.
I think that's a great like mindset shift, right? When you don't know that this is happening around you, you're just kind of like in it, it's happening, you don't really know. But when you realize that, hey, like we're all gonna win, like there's enough for everyone, let's work together, and then like intentionally, you put in your mind that like let's get it done together. Like everything changes, and you start looking at things differently, and you start connecting the dots different ways. For example, I'll give you an example. Like I was doing this deal like a few months back. I had like multiple properties on the contract at the same time. And I had this one property where like things were not going as fast as I wanted them to because I had these other deals and then they were taking all my time. And I was like, you know what? I had to let something go. But it was a good deal. It's just that I didn't have the bandwidth to do everything.
Mhm.
So I connected with another investor friend and then I said, you know what? Like this deal is a great deal. I've looked into it. Like it's a great deal. But I just don't have the bandwidth. Like, do you want it? If you want it, take it, and then you could run with it. And then let's do a deal where I get some equity on that deal. So I was not like, I'll give me a wholesale fee or anything like that. I was like, take it. If it works out, like let's do an equity deal where you run with it. It's your deal. You do whatever you want with it. But I want a little piece of the action because I connected you with the person. And he
Mhm.
was able to take the deal and then he was able to make it into something even better than what I was able to do with it because he had the time, he had the energy, and then like he took his time with the deal, and then he made a better deal out of it. And before I would have been like, I'm not doing it. Nobody's gonna have it.
Yeah.
This is my deal.
Screw you
Nobody,
all. No one gets
yeah,
it.
like I'm not gonna win. Nobody's winning. Like, like nothing, right? But now I'm like, no, no. Like here's the deal. Like, oh, you need a lawyer. Like here's the lawyer. Oh, you need like this and that. Like here it is. We go back and forth. It's not my like I'm like it's his deal, but like we're all gonna win. And then you'll remember like next time if something comes up like and there's a way for us to work together, it's creating that openness where like we have a business relationship now where like we've worked with each other and then we could do more things down the road. So yeah.
And just even like what you're kind of alluding to is the creativity, right? Like that, like you were creative about it and you're just kind of like, I can't be a part of it, but I kind of still want to be a little bit a part of it, right? And
Yeah.
then you found a way to, you know, take advantage of the deal, right? And that's one thing that is also, I think, fun and like growing in is just like the many different possibilities that can happen. And like you said, like your plan for it was different, or maybe it wasn't different, but like you said, didn't have the bandwidth to do it. And then he was able to do amazing things with it and get it done. And you're like, I probably wouldn't have because I didn't have the bandwidth or I didn't even think of it. Like sometimes it's also you look at people's deals and you're like, oh man, I never would have thought to do it that way. I'm like, that's awesome. Next time, I'm gonna like keep that in mind, for example, you know?
Exactly. No,
Hmm.
for sure. And I mean, you didn't have to. Like, if you said no, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, it's still like still your deal. But
Hmm.
like, you ask and then you see what's possible, and then hey, like at the end, we're all winning. And then that's how I approach a lot of things. So like, I'm always looking at like the out of the people that I know, there's a few people that I know really, really well because we talk on a regular basis every now and then. Like you, for example, like we've had multiple conversations. So
Hmm.
I know some of the things that I feel like you like if they come like to me, I
Hmm.
knew that, oh yeah, yeah, like I've connected with you with like someone else, like because they're looking to do like something, right? So it's like, but I know you guys are a good fit. So I'm like, yeah, like let's connect them. It makes perfect sense. So
Hmm.
it's just like a matter of like once you get to know people, okay, this person is really strong at this. They might not be that strong at this thing. I trust that they'll be able to do good here. This I'm not really sure. So like let's wait and see.
Hmm.
And then you're able to connect them with people. And then, sometimes there's a kickback, sometimes there's a thank you, sometimes there's a high five, sometimes there's nothing.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much. It's just like keeping things going and keeping the flow, like the flow of energy, the flow of deal, flow of like relationships, contact, like all that going, and then trusting God, the universe, like to put things in place for us to win.
Hmm. Have you read The Go-Giver?
I have not, but
You
it's on
should.
my
It's
it's on
kind
my
of like
list.
what you're saying, you know, like that, like go with the intention of like, you give because it's also not even like, okay, I give you information, like here, Stephen, this is for you. Like take it, do your thing, and you do your thing, and then but it may not come back to me directly from you. It comes back maybe from someone else, like maybe it's like, oh, then this person's like, hey, Diana, like this will probably like really help you out, or did you hear about this or what, like it's also, so that's what the book about. So you're kind of like, it was kind of like you're talking about it, where it's just kind of like it's also not just about like one-to-one trading, it's just like
Yeah,
everyone is just helping everyone. And then so it's just kind of like, yeah, yeah, I give you this because this is going to help you. And you're probably giving it to someone else. Like
I don't
someone,
know.
actually, I was networking with someone today, talking to someone a few days ago, and they sent me like this whole big package of information. And I was just like, oh my God, how can I help you? Like, what can I do? Right. And then he's like, I don't need anything right now. Don't worry, And he's just like, just pay it forward to someone else. And I was just like, but it was just like, you just felt so grateful that you're just like, what can I do for you,
I
right? But it's like,
know, I
so true at
know.
the same time, he's completely satisfied. He was okay with what he, like, doesn't really need anything. And he was just like, I'm sure when it comes, someone else will give it to me. Or maybe I am like, hey, you know what? Like, I do want to, I do like need some help from you or whatever.
That happened to me just last week. Like I was looking at this deal, a land development deal, and I couldn't make sense out of it. And then one investor friend sat with actually two different people, took their time, and then a different time, but like they walked me through the process of like how they go about it, and then they didn't have to do it. Like there was nothing in it for them, but they took the time. They gave me some of their time, some of their information, and then it just helped me understand things even better. So next
Mhm.
time, like I come into contact with a deal, like I know a little bit more than I knew before. And
Mhm.
they didn't ask for anything in return. It was not like, hey, like I'm giving you this and then you have to give me this in
Mhm.
return. There was no fee, it was just giving.
Yeah.
And
And like that, I think it's like the mindset shifts of our community, right? Like in our community, it's a lot like that. Like you're like, just give, because it's just kind of like you just don't know what can come of it. You're just like giving, giving, because it's also something that, like you said, once you start leveling up and you're at certain levels where you're good and things are good, that like you want to help. I don't know, you can become like a very giving person, you know, you're just kind of like, I'm good, you know, just take it. I'm good, like here, do this, do that. Like because like you said, like we want to all prop each other up and help each other, right?
Yeah. You know what? Like, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes you have to be careful with that because at the end of the day, like people, like it takes a certain person to value information that is given and act on it. I find sometimes you give to someone, and if they're not there yet, like they just take it for granted.
Hmm.
So they won't use it, or they won't appreciate it, or they'll take it for granted. They won't benefit from it in the same way that someone
Hmm.
might if they have some skin in the game. So as much as I like to give, and as much as I like to, you know, take when it's available, like I'll also like to pay for things, access to things, because I know for myself, like I'll value it more if I have some
Hmm.
skin in the game. I paid for it,
Hmm.
or if it's given to me, like I like to try to see what I could do to like come back to the person and help them out some way somehow. Even if it's not directly, like you said, maybe like someone that they know needs something, or like whatever I could do, right? Because like I don't know, I just like to keep the flow going.
Right, yeah, and that's what it is, right? It's always try to keep the flow going and whatever it is. Like I like the expression of, you know, if you have money in your hands and you're holding it. Have you heard of that one? Where if you're holding the money in your hands,
Yeah,
you won't be able to receive because your hands are already closed. So then it's like, and I think that's with anything, not only money, but same thing mindset. Like you always have to be willing to receive and take, you know, both,
yeah,
right? And like you always have to have your hands open because a lot of times, like that's why you see people go into like one direction or not, right? Like, sorry, one direction or the other, right? Like some people are like complete givers all the time, right? And they're giving, 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 but they like deplete their energies. And for some
exactly,
reason, they stop themselves from taking. You know, for some reason, they don't
exactly.
feel like they're worthy of taking and they just give, give, give. And same
Yes,
thing the other side, right? There's like people that just take, 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 and just for some reason feels entitled to never give, give, give. You know, and
yes,
it's just kind of like you have to keep your hands open for both sides to like receive because a lot of missed opportunities also happen where we're just focused on our own thing, hands are closed, and then all of a sudden this amazing opportunity just passes us by. We don't, you know, for example, take it or something, you know?
that's so true, so true.
Hmm. Yeah. So last question for you.
All right,
So it's a big one.
good.
So, what do you see yourself doing in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, what is your goal? What are your
All
goals?
right, that is a big question. So I was actually wrestling with that a little bit not too long ago because we're like as of now we're like towards the end of November. We're finishing the year, and then I'm planning for the next year. And looking back at like what I've been able to do in the last year or so, you know, I was making some plans and some goals for the next little while. So I like to have short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals. So I don't know what 10 years looks like, but for 5 years, and in terms of like the next 5 years, what I'd like to accomplish is like to be part of 1,000 doors. You know, so buy and manage like 1,000 doors. So you know, different size units, and then out of these different units and these different doors, I'd like to own one of them. I'd like to hit to be like 100 plus unit. So that's kind of like the real estate side of things, like having like multiplying the portfolio by quite a bit. And then I just want to get in a position where I can give back. So I started like really taking more interest in mentoring and helping people up and letting people know like how to get started and how to get involved. You know, I love being in touch with new people and helping them out. So I'd like to do more of that. And then I want to like really give back, like not only like true knowledge and whatnot, but also I have this organization called Kiva that like I donate to. It's a lending platform like overseas, like in different countries, and then they lend to entrepreneurs in like third world countries. So I have like a little bit of portfolio of like money that I lend. Like as I do a deal or an offer or anything that advances me towards my goal, I give myself a goal to also remember to give. So I give a little bit of money every now and then. So the portfolio is like, like a certain size. I always when people pay back, I always lend it back out. So the point is never to get the money out. It's always to keep it going and grow the amount that's being lent. So I'd like to just grow that a lot. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I think all of these things, like, as I do more deals, I'll grow more of that. And then I want to work with more people, more partnership, more people, take over some areas and on the map, do a little bit of a takeover in some areas, and just keep growing and keep learning and stay healthy. And that's kind of the goals right now.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing your journey. It was so awesome to chat with you and get to know you more and how your mind ticks.
No, thanks a lot for having me. That was great. That was fun. I really loved it.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Steven. Bye, everyone. We'll see
Bye,
everyone in the
everyone.
next episode. Bye.
Bye.